The Dys Dyvas podcast starts now. Welcome to the latest episode of the Dys Dyvas. The Dys Dyvas, where two friends with dysautonomia decided to ditch their salt and vinegar chips for a support group that's the perfect blend of sass and self-care. Join us for some serious belly laughs and a healthy dose of sarcasm as we navigate the ups and downs of chronic illness together. Today's episode: this is it. We're heading in a new direction, taking the podcast where it's never been before. Join us as we talk to our Dys Dyvas about where this show is going.
Hello, my favorite diva.
He always makes me giggle. I swear, he always makes me giggle.
That's a good way to start the day.
Oh my goodness. How are you, my favorite Dys Diva?
I don't want to lie and say wonderful. I'm okay.
Let's talk more about okay. What's going on?
As we all know, when you suffer from multiple ailments and one that has to do with your autonomic nervous system malfunctioning, I have had doctors who told me that I was like a pinball machine on tilt. I was like, okay. Well, now I've had a neurologist tell me that my test results said that I was really messed up. Twice. Not once, twice in the same conversation. So I just want to take a moment to think about the impact that would have on someone. Me, I find it amusing and I roll with it. But what if you're more vulnerable? What if you're in a state of depression? What if you just got diagnosed and you don't know what the hell's going on? And then someone says, you're really messed up. What kind of a seed is that planting in someone's head about their condition and how they're going to deal with it going forward? I mean, that's messed up. That's what's messed up.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I have a sense of humor, so I find it morbidly funny. But
You would have to, or you'd be dead.
yeah.
You can't get through chronic illness without having a sense of humor, let's be honest. And I think that's one of your greatest attributes.
Oh, if I didn't laugh, I would beat my head against the wall, or I'd probably, be behind bars for losing my mind. And,
No, you're too pretty for prison. We've discussed this. No violence.
when somebody says something stupid like, oh, it's just anxiety, and then I lose my mind and lunge at them, society kind of frowns on that. I don't,
Man.
but they do.
So, when you first got diagnosed, were you vulnerable? How do you remember the first moment you heard a diagnosis that truly brought you to your knees? Do you remember that moment? And what was the diagnosis?
Well, I had like two sets of diagnoses, to be honest, because initially my chronic illness journey started with low platelets for me. And I had no idea what low platelets were, or the repercussions of low platelets, none of it. So I just come back from a trip going to Boston, and I came home and I was working from home and ended up at the hospital because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It's like I couldn't think. All my cognitive skills were in the toilet at the moment, and I couldn't remember how to log into my computer or anything. So the low platelet thing, I just took that in stride. But I was absolutely terrified because it was the first time in my life that I had ever been hospitalized. I did not take that well. I felt like I was a prisoner. I didn't like the treatment. I didn't like the food. I didn't like anything about it. Plus, they weren't very good about updating me into what was going on. You ask a question, they walk out the door, and I'm like... So my first hospitalization experience was not a good one. So we progressed past that, which I have that disease in remission. So yay me, screw them. We progressed to 2015, where I end up with the polymyositis, which left me like pretty much my weakness from the waist up, hands, neck, everything. It just nothing would work. I mean, if I went to like try to do my hair, I couldn't reach any higher than this. Trying to cut your food, that was difficult. Trying to get up, trying to get out of bed. You know, Tim used to have to help me get out of bed, help me get dressed. I had no upper body strength. Made it through that one. That took a little while with a few hiccups here and there, medication adjustments, physical therapy. I also had AFib in the middle of that due to the medication. And that wasn't too fun. But we got through that hump. That came with mixed connective tissue disease and lupus. So shortly afterwards, with dealing with these diseases, the lupus made me break out in that lovely lupus rash, the butterfly rash, not very pretty. Pretty on a butterfly, not pretty on a face. And people would look at you like you're diseased. Because I remember it was Easter time and I had a pretty dress on, I had short sleeves, and I had those rashes all down my arm. And you know, you walk into the grocery store and people are like, are you in a restaurant? And it was like, and I'm like, screw you. I'm not contagious. I'm just sick. Just cut me some slack. Um, Progressed from that to the lovely dysautonomia. And I think the dysautonomia probably was the most profound because I knew I had it, but I didn't realize how severely life changing it was going to be. And I think you've heard me tell this story before, but I saw the specialist and he was over in Clearwater and he's like, well, you're not going to be able to go out for walks in the theme parks. You're not going to be able to be out in the heat, you know, unless you're in a wheelchair, unless you've got lots of ice, lots of drinks, and you have to be in the shade. And your life isn't going to be the same anymore. And I was like, and you need to change your diet. And I was like, yeah, no. And he's like, if you don't make these changes, you're not going to get any better, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so I was really disheartened and taken aback by what he said. I mean, it was drastic changes. Wheelchair? What are you talking about? Not being able to go outside? What are you talking about? You know, not, I lost my freedom. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. So basically, I tested his theory that afternoon and spent the afternoon at Clearwater Beach. And then thought I was going to die because I was so miserable. I ended up in urgent care the next day because I did not believe anything the doctor said, thought he was full of crap, and did what I would normally do in my normal life. And then found out that I could not do that anymore. So that was probably the most shocking one. And I'm like sitting in the car and I am pissed. And the first thing I'm thinking of is, I can't believe he's actually right. So yeah, that was my first shocking, hard to swallow diagnosis. I had several, but that was the one that gave me the sucker punch.
Wow. Wow.
How about
I
you?
like the Well, first I want to say, because I know you and I talked about this before, moving forward, we're going to be sharing a lot more vulnerable stories. Maybe relate on people in a deeper level. Um, yeah, I just think you're such a warrior. Coming back from what you've come from is pretty miraculous, and I feel like I want to give a shout out to your body for healing itself, putting a lot of your diseases in remission, and just being a badass for this community. So, bravo.
Well, thank you. My body's like, I'm not done yet.
No, but you are so strong-willed. Like you've got such a powerful mindset, which is why I feel our friendship works. You're just a trooper. For me, believe it or not, because I have a lot of my diseases in remission, the lupus, RA, and this is not just diagnoses that, I self-diagnose. This is actual blood results. I've actually been diagnosed through blood work and other avenues, but I have those in remission. Dysautonomia, I'm working emphatically on. I'm actually, doing better with that. But for me, the disease to this day, and I don't even want to call it a disease because I think I can overcome this, is PTSD.
From
I
dealing with the
think,
medical profession.
all I feel, I had PTSD from a child from 9 years on. I dealt with that. I put it at rest. I'm okay with what happened to me in my past. But I was shocked when my therapist called it medical PTSD, and going back on all the years that I was treated so poorly in the ER, being treated like, why are you here? You're not in pain. You're just looking for something, and calling it anxiety. And I feel the
Mhm.
same as you. I have such anger inside of me, which makes my symptoms worse, my PTSD symptoms. But I feel that after what you and I have been through, seeing it from an actual inside perspective, what's happening now is heartbreaking. What it's done for our mental health, and you and I are both very sarcastic. We're Northerners. We just take the punches and deal with it. But I truly want people to understand the anger and the stress that the medical community has brought on us for their incompetence, for their
Absolutely.
ignorance. If it
Absolutely.
wasn't for you and I having our strong will to live and our sense of humor, is knowing that you don't have to live crippled, you don't have to live disabled, you truly can have your best life. I'm still searching for mine, but you're still able to you're able to do a lot of things you didn't think you could do, and you are proving these doctors. And I'm right there saying, oh, no, no, you are not your disease. You're not your diagnosis. We can overcome this.
That's right.
But
They don't know.
yep,
Medical doctors, it's a practice for a reason because they don't have answers.
right.
And if the doctors that didn't have answers would be kind enough to have the cojones to admit that they didn't know what they were talking about,
Cold
I
day
would
in hell,
I would
that'll happen.
I would applaud them. Now, if I have a doctor that comes to me and says, "Oh, my famous, oh, you're a special case," which that's special case ranks right under anxiety for me at this point. Um, if they say, "Look, I'm not familiar with dysautonomia, I don't know. Let me refer you to someone who is, or my partner's more familiar. Let me have you seen by my partner." I'm like, "Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your honesty.
Right.
But
The
don't
honesty.
BS me and tell me that it's because I'm a woman. It's all in my head. I don't have these symptoms, that they're not real." That is gaslighting. That is total BS.
Yeah.
And how many people are they doing it to? They did it to you. They did it to me. They're doing it to hundreds and thousands of other people. And what about the poor people who are already on their last nerve and they are so depressed because they have this disease that is debilitating them? They can't get out of bed. I mean, the most effective thing they do in their day is cry because that's all they know how to do. And then you get some doctor who's telling them, well, there's nothing wrong with you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just inexcusable. I'm sorry. There's no way to treat people. And
I
people, I want people to know that there are other people in the world suffering like they are and like we are, and that we're still looking for answers and we're not giving up.
We're works in progress.
Yep, exactly.
And
We're
it's
going to
okay to
keep
be
on.
that, right? It's
It's
okay to
okay.
be a complete mess and not know
Yeah,
the answers. It's
that's
okay.
right. And you know what? The doctor doesn't know the answer either.
You
So,
fire them. That's what
yeah,
I did.
yeah, it's perfectly okay to fire a doctor that doesn't work with you. It's that symbiotic relationship. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, I had a
Right.
beautiful physical therapist, and that girl was amazing, and she left because of the stress from the corporate world. And I'm very sad because she actually cared. She made a connection. She cared about your journey. She cared about you getting better.
That's
And
hard to
most
find.
most places you go, you sign in, you sign out, here's your exercises, see you later, bye. They don't give a crap about
They
you.
don't give a shit. No, they
It, you're
don't.
just you're just a means to an end for a paycheck for them. And this girl has a heart of gold, and she's amazing, and she deserves so much more. So not only is the medical profession gaslighting us, it's gaslighting its own, and that's
Yep.
not right.
Girl, I was a nurse. For 27
Exactly.
years, I worked in that field, and what they've done to me should never happen to another human being. And it's like I know what they do. I know what they're capable of doing. And I don't know if it's laziness, but I do have to blame a lot of it is their own personal, like, what are their intentions for showing up at the job? You're going to have care, you're going to have compassion, are you going to have empathy, are you just going to say, like you said, chalk it up to anxiety, there's nothing I can do? It took 6 months for me to get into, this was my first rheumatologist, and I was broken. It was in 2018, and I was so broken just looking for answers. And I finally saw her in January of 2019, and she literally said to me, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I just think it's stress. I just think it's anxiety. And understand, at this point, I was still learning how to walk. I was learning how to write. I could not function. I lost a lot of my cognitive ability, and rheumatologist tells me there's nothing wrong with me. And that's when I was like, I'm on my own here, and I don't ever want another person to feel like, where do you go next? Because there's always options. It's never done until God says it's done. And I swear, even then, he negotiates. I swear.
Yeah, the man upstairs calls all the shots. Whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever, Buddha, it doesn't matter. There is a higher power for everyone. So no matter how you see it, you have a higher power. They're the ones calling the shots for you. Call out to the universe, call out to God, call out to whoever you want to. Baby Yoda, whatever, whoever makes you feel comfortable. But
they'll heal you.
Know that you're not alone in this journey, and that there are other resources out there in the world to help you, including the Dys Dyvas. Yes, we're a little zany, loony, crazy, but that's part of our charming personality. So we hope that part of that craziness will lure you back for another episode. Just going forward, we're going to be changing things up a little bit. So be prepared.
Yay! All right, this was awesome. I'm looking forward to the next one, and tell everyone where they can reach us.
That's right. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. So if you don't want to look at us, you can listen to us. We would appreciate that. And as always, if you would please like and subscribe, we would appreciate that very much. Oh, and I do have one last thing that I wanted to say. I want to give a shout out to my beautiful friend for the shirt that I'm wearing. That has all these lovely sayings on here. I am enough, and all these other things about a woman, just being a woman and what it's like to be a woman. And I would like to give a shout out to Be You by Ella on Facebook. She is a lovely, lovely person. She's a beautiful friend of mine. Be You by Ella. She has shirts like this. She has other shirts, and they all give a very positive message. So check her out. We'll put that link in the description below. So until then, we will see you on our next episode, and thank you for tuning in.
Bye, everyone. Namaste.
Bye.